everyone. Welcome to Pixel Perfect 2, the final quarter. I'm Celia. I'm the RCIScience Virtual Engagement Coordinator, and today we're going to be playing along with previous student and Quarantrivia game developer Ridhi Patel. So we'll be looking at myths and facts about SARS-CoV-2 and in this new edition of Quarantrivia, vaccines. So you can submit your questions and comments in the chat box or via Twitter at RCIScience, or by email to information@rciscience.ca. And just a reminder to please be polite and respectful. We have moderators who will be monitoring the chat just to make sure everything's good and taking action as appropriate. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce Ridhi Patel. Ridhi Patel is an avid gamer and pre-med student at Brock University, formerly a student of the University of Waterloo. Ridhi worked with Dr. Jozef Nissimov from the Faculty of Science to create Quarantrivia, an online game aimed at combating some of the misinformation surrounding the current COVID-19 pandemic. Having picked up coding skills in her early university years and fostered her graphic design experience through extracurricular roles, Ridhi was well placed to develop this side project during lockdown. In addition to gaming, Ridhi has a wide variety of interests, including cooking, dancing, visual arts, running, and reading about current affairs in science and technology. She aspires to become a doctor who will continue to expand her skill set to serve the community around her. And so just to give a little bit of context in case you missed it, we actually teamed up with Ridhi last year in October to play one of the earliest versions of Quarantrivia. And back then we were talking about what we knew about COVID-19, wearing masks, hand washing, and as good game developers do, Ridhi Patel was already working towards improving and updating game, implementing player feedback, and even new information about the pandemic itself. So she brings us the final quarter, and we're focusing on vaccinations in this version. And I'm also really excited because she's implemented other player feedback, sort of leveling up the game a little bit beyond trivia questions. So I'm going to leave that as a surprise for you to discover, and I'll pass it on to Ridhi.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for having me here today. And I'm really excited to be here. Just like last time, I was here in October and I was discussing the first 3 versions of Quarantrivia. And today we're going to discuss the final quarter, which is the final version of Quarantrivia. And yeah, so thank you for having me. And before we get right into discussing the game, I kind of wanted to talk about some of the things that motivated this project and why I created it in the first place. So now that we're hitting about a year into this pandemic, I'm sure we're all pretty familiar with all of the challenges that we've had to face till now. Social media is probably first and foremost, like the first one that comes to mind. Because of the nature of this disease, we've all been quarantined. We've all had to adapt to lockdown rules, and so social media has become one of our main and primary ways of communicating. And with that come a lot of problems, obviously, like related to mental health and productivity, but also a lot of problems related to misinformation, because social media can be a super spreader in that way, because it can allow us to spread messages so quickly without having any regard for what the content of the message is, right? And also socio-political agendas have also shown to be really problematic this season or throughout this whole year, because this pandemic has also exposed some of the infrastructural and some of the institutional ways in which we're lacking, right? And a lot of governments are lacking. So that issue contributes to the mistrust between governments and the public, like the general public. And so that can also fuel misinformation in a lot of bad ways. And contribute to other problems. And same with science illiteracy. So this is actually a term that I've borrowed from University of Alberta's science literacy course. And that course actually focuses on helping people use scientific methods and just helping people realize how to use scientific methods correctly so that they can interpret data on their own and get the correct kind of analysis from it, instead of twisting the data to represent other beliefs. So that's what science literacy focuses on. And here I've used the opposite term, illiteracy, to kind of describe how people use scientific methods to kind of bend data to fit their own perspective. And so that can also propagate misinformation in a lot of devious ways. So that's the focus of our project here, combating misinformation. And this little infographic I borrowed from my previous presentation. And it's a good way to summarize kind of how we at the individual level can play a role also in propagating misinformation. Because, like I said, we're all using all these social media tools, and it comes down to us to decide to what we want to share and what kind of messages we want to put out there for our immediate community and also for the global community to see. So we have a direct impact on all of this too, and that's why I thought this was a very important issue to tackle. And so this project itself focuses on disarming misinformation. And the way in which we do this is by using credible resources like the Public Health Agency of Canada, the World Health Organization, and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. So these are just some of the resources that I've named, but there are some other ones that we use that are also mentioned in the resources page for our project. But basically, we want to use these credible resources and communicate factual information so that everybody out here in the midst of this concoction of misinformation and problems, they can get the right information to make the right decisions for themselves and the community around them. I think that's very important. So that's what we're trying to do here. And through this game, we're also trying to promote accountability. And we do this by challenging the user's knowledge on what they already know. So whatever information you already have, is it correct? How correct is it? And if it is incorrect, then we give you the resources so that you can decide for yourself what the correct information would be and kind of get the answer yourself as well if you're looking for it. We're also trying to make learning engaging through this project. So that was also a big focus, because it's not like we don't already have enough stressors with this whole pandemic environment, right? So we didn't want to just throw information out there and not make it appealing. We wanted to make learning as engaging as possible. Yeah, and so this is again a helpful little infographic that might help visualize where we come in with this project. So right now, we are looking at the kind of final stages of this pandemic, phase one, where we're looking into the production of vaccines and distribution of vaccines, and then eventually the administration and the analysis of the effects of vaccines. So that's what we're all focusing on collectively. And where Quarantrivia, the final quarter, comes in is basically between the distribution and administration stages here. Our aim is to educate the people so that when vaccines are distributed, people do take them and are educated for all the pros of vaccines so that they are administered to them and they are not hesitant to take them. But yeah. So with that, now I can start introducing the final quarter, which is the most updated version of this resource that I've been developing. And I've developed it in collaboration with the University of Waterloo Faculty of Science and Dr. Jozef Nissimov, who is a virologist at the University of Waterloo as well. So together, we've created this game, Quarantrivia, and this is the final version. And the final version focuses mostly on the importance of immunization and vaccines, as mentioned. And we've also incorporated many new features, like off of user feedback. So we've tried to incorporate many diverse types of questions based on the feedback we got from the last 3 games. We've also tried to make the game more challenging by introducing spaces where points can be cut. So instead of just gaining points, you can also lose points. And we've also introduced 2 new mini games to kind of keep the players motivated, because this is a content-heavy game. And also, the mini games are like 2D platform games, so they might also add a big factor of engagement and competitiveness if gamers are into that. And yeah, so our target audience actually here, what I was thinking is like there's no really age for fun. So anybody that is interested in games and that is interested in learning and challenging their knowledge about immunization can play this game, and hopefully they will all find it useful. And with that, we can put this game to a test and we can go ahead and try it and see how useful it really is. So feel free to go to www.quarantriviagame.com. That is the official website for the game. So yeah, let's open that.
It's gonna
okay.
be...
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So with the game open right here, if everyone has it on and good, you can click continue to the game. Or actually, before we even click that, I just wanted to point out a few things here. Down right out the title page, we have the version of the game here stated. So this is whenever we update the game, we always update the version number, and we also have the date whenever the game was modified. So we also update that regularly, and we put this here to like kind of give a transparency factor to people so that they know that we are checking over the content regularly and updating it as needed. But yeah, so feel free to click continue to the game, and there's a little backstory about who our characters are, our protagonist and our antagonist, Dr. Pixel and the virus. And then when we get to the main menu here, you can click on that first option right here, Play Quarantrivia Final Quarter. So make sure you click on that first option.
And there are 3 other options. Those were the older versions, right?
Right. So if you look back over here, Play Quarantrivia, New World Phase 3, and Myth versus Reality, those are the 3 previous versions. And also for anyone that is looking to see where we're getting our information from, you can click on the links and resources page, and that should take you to another page that has all of our resources on it.
Yeah, it's awesome to make sure that, you know, again, it's another layer of transparency, right? To ensure that.
Exactly.
You know, awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we wanted to make sure that whenever people are not in the dark about where we're getting any of our information from, they have it all there in front of them. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and also, so when you click on that option, it will say, please click here. Do not click on continue, click on that, click here, so it'll take you to a new page.
Good
and
to
that's
know.
the thumbnail. Yeah.
Awesome.
So now we see the thumbnail, the final quarter, that will tell you that, okay, you're on this game, and we can click start. And yeah, so the story intro is the Pixel citizens are hard at work. Economies have reopened. We're already into phase 3. And they're all taking the appropriate measures that they're supposed to keep safe. But obviously, the virus particles are still around, and they're not leaving. So Dr. Pixel has a solution in mind, which is going to have to do with vaccines. And the player's job is to help Dr. Pixel get all those vaccines safely. So obviously by telling him the right information.
Right.
Yeah. And also, so this is basically how to play. And it will show you all the different rules that we have in this game. And just to kind of give you an overview, you get 10 points anytime you answer a question correctly, and you lose 10 points if you select an answer that has to do with the anti-vaccination movement for this game specifically.
Right.
So that's your, gain and lose. Otherwise, you get 0 points if you select a different random answer. You get 0 points.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Cool.
Yeah. And and this just says that we have the 2 mini games scattered throughout the game at some point. So if you do want to play them, you have to play through the whole quiz.
Okay. You can't. There's no shortcut.
No.
Or whatever.
No, there's no cheat ways, right? So
yeah,
we want to make sure that you play through.
Awesome.
Yeah, and with that,
we're gonna ask everyone if you're not playing sort of on your own computer and you're gonna play along with us, just to write your answers in the comments. You can write A, B, C, or D. You don't have to write the full answer. You're gonna have 15 seconds, and based on what we get in the comments, we'll pick the answer that is most common, right?
Right, exactly. So hopefully you guys all participate, and we'll see how much we know. So yeah, first question, just getting started. And I'll read the question first before starting the timer, so it'll be a bit more fair. So according to the WHO, or the World Health Organization, vaccines save about blank lives per year. So how many lives do they save per year? What do we think?
They're all
what
really
would you think?
I usually go, I would say the highest number usually, because
7 trillion.
But I don't know if is that there's that many people. Maybe we'll go for 2 to 3 million.
Okay. Yeah, and
okay, yeah.
That's an awesome start. I like the strategy that you used. Just trying to eliminate the options.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. I lost that. Fill in my blank. Yeah.
Got you. Yeah.
Yeah, we got someone who said as well. Yeah. Okay. So.
Oh yay!
Yeah.
Okay. So B, select the main reasons why a person should be vaccinated. What do we think? To protect their own health and the health of others around them, to protect the body and the virus causing the disease, to weaken their natural immune systems and become more drug dependent, or to damage the body and virus causing the disease. What do we think?
We don't have any comments just yet. So if you have a guess, please do fill it into the chat box. We see an A. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so these ones are, which one do you think might be the anti-vaccination myth out of these ones, actually?
It sounds like the drug-dependent one sounds a little bit like conspiracy theory-like. So
right.
if I were to choose one that was like the anti-vax movement, it would probably be C.
Yeah.
And you said that would usually give you negative
10. Yeah. And so the thing is, you won't be able to see that that you get negative 10 whenever you answer incorrectly. You just saw that you just see that you get the wrong answer, but at the end you'll realize that you didn't get as many points as you would have thought. So yeah. Okay. But yeah, so we'll go with A then.
Okay.
Since that's the answer, and awesome, our audience is already super knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So number 3. Vaccines are known to reduce the risk of catching viral diseases by either introducing harmful chemicals that damage the virus, fighting off infections once you're sick, introducing harmful chemicals that damage your body, or working with your body's natural defense to build protection. So how do vaccines reduce our risk?
Let's see.
So a lot of this game, like compared to the previous ones, is like it's very content heavy. It has like bigger questions.
You have to think through sort of what each is sort of implying, because they're kind of, some of them are like close to the truth, if it's not the truth.
Yeah, they almost try to trick you.
Yeah. We've got a few D's and just all D's so far. So working with bodies. Yeah.
So we'll go with D then. Majority. Hey, that one was a bit harder.
Yeah.
They did good. Awesome. Yeah, well, how do vaccines actually work? So now we know how the substance is meant to work, but how does it actually work? They don't, only hygienic practices do, or they work by causing the disease they're meant to prevent, or they work by training your immune system to create antibodies, another buzzword people might have heard, or they work by killing all disease-causing bacteria in your body, or something else.
Oh, that's such a ambiguous. It's always that trick option.
Other?
Yeah. Let's see. I don't see any answers yet, but I feel like, antibodies is really trying to get you to answer that one because we've all heard about antibodies.
So I would say that's fair.
Yeah. So you also have animations for when you have like the correct answer. I'm assuming it's different when you get the wrong answer.
Right. Yes. And so we can test that out like right now. So when we selected the correct answer here, you see, we get an animation where little pixel is using like a sanitary spray to chase away the virus. And if I were to select the wrong answer, so by causing the disease they're meant to prevent, you would get an explanation that has the correct answer in it, and also a different animation.
Oh, sad.
Yeah.
But it's awesome that you're still reinforcing the correct answer if you get the answer wrong.
Yeah, and like, I mean, it wouldn't change the score, but if people really want to for their own satisfaction, they can go back and change it, but their score wouldn't change. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see. So like it just keeps your original answer. Okay.
Yeah. And so that brings us to question E then. The safety of vaccines is monitored. Let's see. Only up to its initial release, regularly, even after it's in routine use, for the first 6 months once it's publicly available, or never once it's publicly available. So how often do we monitor vaccines?
So if you have any guesses, please put them in the chat. As I've seen, there's a little bit of a delay, so we've seen actually some answers before. And we're seeing some coming in now. B, lots of Bs. We've got someone really determined to put in B. So thank you.
Let's see. And they're absolutely right. Awesome.
Amazing.
We killed that virus there, yeah. So up till now, we saw all the multiple choice questions. So the first 5 questions are multiple choice, just to kind of warm up the user. But now we'll start seeing a mix of the different types of questions that I was talking about earlier. So here, this one's an animated question. The animations are just sort of to go with the descriptions themselves, but we need to pay attention to descriptions to answer the question.
Okay, don't pay attention to the animation.
You're right.
Yeah. Which one you like the most.
Exactly. Just need to clarify.
So, okay.
All right. But yeah, so which of the following is true? Rather than being a treatment for disease, vaccines prevent the disease from occurring altogether. Or vaccines are not safe for babies because they can overload their immune system by making them create too many unnecessary antibodies. And so natural immunity is better for babies. Well, what do we think? Which one is true?
Already we've gotten an A.
Oh, yay. Oh, wow, that was quick.
But we have 7 seconds or 6 now, and we can see if we have any other answers. But yeah.
I guess not. Okay, then.
Yeah, it's like
A, let's see. And yeah, that's the correct answer. So basically, the point to drive home there was that vaccines are a preventative measure. They don't stop diseases, but they can prevent them.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And now we have a different type of question, so a reality or myth one. So everyone can receive a vaccine and become vaccinated. Is that reality or is that myth? Yeah, and I don't know if I would call this a trick question necessarily, but like it might be considered a trick question.
There is, yeah, I feel like there could be some nuance that you can address with that statement, right?
For sure. Yeah, like I'm like I don't want to be the bad person here. I'm not trying to trick people, but
so we've gotten a B.
A B, okay. Yeah, and well, they would be correct. It is a myth. So not everyone can be vaccinated, right? There might be some people who are allergic to things that are in the vaccine or that can't take the vaccine for other health problems. And that just makes it more important for us who can take the vaccine to take it. So that way we can protect those who can't, right? But yeah, so just another thing to drive home there. Oh, and there we go. So we're on to our first mini game with that, 7 questions in. And so everyone should be seeing the screen if you are playing along at home. It's going to take you to another link. So feel free to click here, and that should take you to this screen. And this is the screen for the minigame. So this one is based off of Super Mario World, and so it's called Super Vax World. Yeah, I used to be like really into old games, like arcade games. I'm sure you've heard of them too. Yeah.
Like I would still play them, so this is perfect.
Oh wow! Yeah, awesome. Oh, I'm glad. So like you do that, right?
I'm not very good. Like I'm not very good at them, but I will play them.
Hey, that's all that matters. Like, who's to judge who's good and who's not?
True. Right? Thank you.
Yeah, but because I can't say much for myself, but so this game itself is based on those Super Mario games, and all it requires is a simple keyboard. So you can play this if you're following along on a desktop or a PC computer, but you wouldn't be able to play this if you're on a phone or a tablet. Just putting that out there. So if you want, you can also revisit this on a computer in that case. But basically, you're going to use the right and left arrow keys to move and the space bar to jump. If you touch the enemy, you die, but if you jump on the enemy dies.
Okay, definitely like Mario there.
Yeah, very like it's really inspired off of that game. So
yeah, I love
you'll see many similarities. Yeah, and I'm not going to play through the whole game, but I'm just going to show you a little like tricks because so this game I tried not to make it as easy as possible. You do have to collect each syringe to get 5 points, and you need about 70 points to beat the game, or 75 points to beat the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
go ahead.
Yeah?
Sorry.
Oh, okay, no. Sorry. So you're not allowed to like linearly play the game. Like if you can see, you can't really go back to get that vaccine. You have to figure out the puzzle and keep going back.
Yes. See, because I played this a little bit before this event, and I was struggling to get some of those vaccines.
Yeah, so like
So
and they're
yeah, it
purposely
definitely
made
is.
like that.
I see. It is a puzzle. Okay.
Yeah, so yeah,
Oh,
I had to like
okay. I
go
love this.
all the
This
way
is
around.
another layer of complexity. Yeah,
And then
okay. You're revealing the
the more
secret here.
I
Exclusive.
know, and I'm like, I can't play it too much because then everybody will know how to get the high score.
That's true.
But the
Okay,
more
I
you
was
play
proud of
it,
myself when I finished it.
yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. So like the more you do play it, the more you will figure out that like, okay, yeah, there are these little tricks to this game. Like the more you hold the space
Okay.
bar, it jumps a little bit higher and so on. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm not going to complete the whole game. I'm just going to kind of like go here. Um,
Okay. Yeah, yeah, that's totally fine.
oh,
We don't want to
there we go.
reveal all the okay.
Exactly. Oh, so there you
Okay.
go. So once you hit 70, you win, and by winning, you get the hint here at the bottom, which is the hint for the next question. And also, you get a chance to enter in your name. So I can just enter in V2 and then save it as a high score, and you get to see the leaderboard. So this way, you can kind of compete with your friends and see how many points you can get in like the mini games themselves, if not the
Yeah.
actual game.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you click show scores, there we go. These are some of the scores.
All right. So there's still a chance to get top 10.
Yeah, there's many chances. So please do try. I was kind of hoping to see like how people are finding the game. So yeah, give it a try.
Yeah, if
If
you are
possible.
playing it separately and you're not just watching as we play it, please do write in the comments or email or tweet at us how you're finding the game, if you're enjoying it, and what your high score is.
Feedback.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can also like share your high score and like compete with friends. So yeah, hopefully you have fun.
Yeah.
But once we got that hint, I did not read out that hint because I wanted to give people a chance to play it. But you do get a hint, and it will help you with this question. So, which of the following is true? Let's see. Vaccines aren't worth the risk as infection rates are already so low in some countries. Or young children can be exposed to diseases in their daily life through many different places and people, and this can put them at serious risk. So, which one of these is true? And yeah. Some of these might be a little bit more straightforward than others.
Yeah.
And not as challenging. Yeah.
Again, yeah, if you have guesses to which one is correct, please do write them in the chat.
Right, and I will start the timer.
Oh, yes. Start the timer.
So there we go. We have 15 seconds.
Yeah. The animations are really cute. Are each animation different from the other questions? Like for each answer you had, yeah.
Yeah, so for each question in these ones, which of the following is true, they're all different animations. But the ones that play after, like when you get the correct answer or the wrong answer, those are the same. Yeah.
They repeat. Okay. So already we've got some answers in. B is the common one, it looks like.
Okay, and well, yeah, I would say that's correct. Oh, awesome. So children can get the disease because they're more susceptible to it. They obviously play in dirty environments from time to time. But yeah, so good job. And the next one might be a little bit also challenging to answer compared to the last one. So in 1974, 3 countries cut back on utilizing the whooping cough vaccine due to fear. What do you think was the outcome of the disease in these countries? So in the UK, Sweden, and Japan, when they stopped using the vaccine, what do we think happened? So the disease reappeared, caused an epidemic, and there was a dramatic increase in deaths, or there was no significant outcome, and the public health systems were able to deal with the epidemic, or none of the above are correct.
All right. A little bit of medical history here, which is important because whooping cough was much more common historically. So
yeah, and also like I kind of wanted to show that when in the past we didn't follow through with vaccines or like with immunization, what happened? Like there's probably things that we can learn from that too, right? So
yeah, because it's not new, right?
Uncertainty they've been helping us so much, like in the past too, the vaccines.
Yeah, for sure. We've had a lot of vaccines in the past. It's not just the COVID-19 vaccines that are new. So we've got a C and an A.
Okay. So which one should we go with? We can go with C.
Okay.
And let's see. Well, it would be A in that case, because so after they had stopped promoting their vaccination programs, they were affected by a mass reappearance of the whooping cough disease, which resulted in epidemics in all three countries actually. So there was a significant bad effect for not using the vaccine.
Right. And where does that link lead to? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead. My bad. So this link right here goes to the WHO website from where I got this information. And this is basically their FAQ pages. So over here, it says vaccines are preventable and virtually eliminated from any countries. So why do we still use them? So these are kind of like the pages that I got this information from, and you can see like this is directly sourced from that.
Right.
Awesome. Right. So just in case like people need an extra measure of like to make sure that this information is correct, that's provided.
Yeah.
And next question then, reality or myth? Severe side effects such as development of an extreme illness or other reactions are most often found to be coincidental, that is entirely unrelated to vaccination. So does vaccination lead to side effects?
Right. Okay. And I feel like we've probably seen similar headlines in the news recently. Yeah. So.
Yeah. For sure. And like you also see headlines regarding whether or not the disease reappears, and that can also get into some muddy territory. Right. But yeah, I mean, this is like just like in general, do vaccines cause side effects?
Right. We've got a B.
Oh, okay. So this, I guess they can't cause side effects.
Yeah. So we've got a couple of Bs.
Oh, so that is a myth. So the myth is that vaccines can develop extreme illnesses or side effects, and they often do. And that's a myth because they often don't. Usually all these side effects are found to be a result of some other external factor and not the vaccine itself. So it could be that the person had an allergy or other pre-existing conditions that kind of intertwined and led to the side effect and not just the vaccine.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
That's basically why that was a wrong answer.
Okay, because there. I guess the wording of the question was also severe side effects. Not that vaccines don't have side effects, but you know.
Exactly. Like usually they don't lead to anything life-threatening or complicating like that. But yeah, exactly. Yeah. So next question, which of the following is true? So vaccines may cause minor or mild temporary symptoms such as a sore arm or low fever, and other severe side effects are extremely rare. Or vaccines are only important in childhood and adolescence, and adults don't need protection from vaccines. So yeah. And some of these like animations have to do with what the question is describing, and others are actually opposite of what the question is saying. Which is why I'm like, just focus on the content.
Yeah, don't pay attention to the graphics, but they're very cute. I really enjoy them.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's their purpose, just to be entertaining. Yeah. Okay, so what does the audience think?
Yeah, if you haven't already, put some answers in. I can't actually at this point. I can't really tell which has come in before, which is the. Oh, we've got it back. It's okay. But I think I'm seeing A for this question.
Okay, we'll go with A. And yeah, that would be the smart choice. So just as we saw earlier, they don't cause severe side effects, only mild ones.
Right.
So yeah. And reality or myth, some diseases have disappeared in the past, so vaccines are not necessary. Well, what do people think about that?
Oh, okay.
So our vaccines...
A little bit more medical history as well.
Right. Like, I mean, it could also be a question, right? That like, are they really that necessary? Do we need them to get rid of this disease? Can't we just do without it?
And there's this really great concept and quote about vaccines being a victim of their own success, right? It being successful is not. It doesn't look as obvious or as clear because things go away because the vaccine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's like, oh, there's no problem anymore. Who knows what cured it?
Right. Like, is it really the vaccine? But people are being really helpful in telling me which question they're referring to. So for the question L, We've got a B and an A. So dealer's choice.
Okay, I guess we'll go with A. And I'm sorry, it was B. And yeah, so such statements suggest that vaccines are not needed if it is reality. So it's actually a myth. We do need vaccines to eradicate this disease. So whoever said B was correct. And minigame number 2 time. So this is minigame number 2. I can also just show you an overview of how to play this game. But do feel free to play this on your own time, because this one is like you can get a high score and it can just keep going. Like there's no limit to the high score. So yeah,
I mean, it's kind of fun to like figure out what you're supposed to do in a way. But yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it could be, if it's more ambiguous, right? It could be fun.
Yeah, I think it was yeah, go ahead.
No, for sure. So this game here is like similar to Space Invaders, which is like a more of a 2D shooter game, right? So this one is kind of like that. You point and shoot using like your cursor, and then you move around with WASD keys. Yeah, and this is our like doctor's view, I guess, from like top down. That's what we're going to imagine this is.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have to move around, you have to look around, find the viral part. Oh my god, there's so many. And then you get to shoot them.
That's pretty fun. Yeah.
You have to like make sure, oh my gosh, that they don't follow you and kill you, and there's a lot, so I'm going to die. And there you go. So that's how you play that game. And again, same mechanism. If you do get higher than a certain score, I believe it's 750 for this one, you get to go to the leaderboard. Otherwise, you get to try again.
And do you get a hint as well from winning? Okay.
Yes. So at the end of this game, if you do get the high score, you get the hint, and then the hint will help you for the next question in this game.
And we actually have a question about your last question that you had in your trivia. Is if you had answered correct for that one, would it have told you why you were correct and reference certain things?
So that depends on the question. For some questions, we don't state that, but for others where it might be more ambiguous on why it's correct, we do sometimes have like a sentence or two explaining why it might be correct, and the source as well. But if you're really interested in just looking at why a question might be correct or incorrect, I would recommend going back and choosing the wrong option, because that will in depth tell you like what the correct answer is and why.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, and that will also give you a link for most of them, but not for all of them.
Okay. That's a really great question, actually. So thank you for asking that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you for asking that as well. And yeah, I guess, so this would be the end of the game that I want to show it up to, because I do want to leave some for like the users to figure out on their own the answers. But yeah, hopefully people had fun playing along with that. Yeah. And so just returning back to this presentation. So like, hopefully you saw kind of what this resource is meant to do and how it's meant to educate people. And now I just want to show some data that we've collected over the past year since the first initial release of this game, which was in May, the first version. So last time I was here in October, our stats said something like 3,600 sessions acquired and about 2,800 new users. So from that time, we're seeing about 1,000 more new users. We have 3,900 users now and 4,800 sessions. And yeah, as we can see, like this is like a global response. So that was pretty nice to see. Not sure how many of these are actually VPN mediated and how Google kind of weeds out people who use VPN. But it is a fair amount of people outside of Canada playing the game. So it is used globally, so that's pretty nice to see. But when we map that data across time, it's a little bit more useful. And as you can see here, like this is when we first released the game in May, and we acquired a lot of users. And over time, we've been seeing spikes in user acquisition every time we release a new version. And so this is when the 4th version was released. And we are anticipating to see a spike like once this event is done. So like we further promote the resource. Yeah, and with that in mind, we can also take a look at the average scores just for this final version, so the final quarter game. And you can see that over time, we've been seeing like an increase in the average scores. Usually like that's the trend. And I'm not, well, like that, there's a correlation between how much the users are returning to the game and how higher scores they're getting. But I can't say that there's a causation, obviously. But there is a correlation there.
Okay, so you can't tell if someone came back to the game later on.
So we can tell that they came back later on through the sessions. It's just, I can't say that, yes, it's because they played the game that now they know more. But like you can see, yeah, that the scores are going up. So that's good. Yeah, it is achieving its goal. And also, so this is pretty neat. I thought that you also get to see the kind of users that we're acquiring through their device use. And before we released the 4th version, most of our users were playing on their phones and tablets, which is what the project was meant to do. It was meant to be very accessible and on your fingertips kind of a thing. But since the release of the 4th version, because it uses a lot more desktop and PC computers, you can see a lot more users using desktop and PCs. So this also helps us keep in check like whether we are really, achieving our goal or not. And yeah, you can clearly see a shift in the audience acquisition. So that was good as well to see.
They're determined to play mini games, so they're all switching.
Yeah. I mean, that's good. That's good to see. That's what I was hoping to see. But yeah. And so just like bringing this to an end, like the key takeaways that I want to leave the audience with today is that this project is just meant to advocate for and distribute the correct information in the most concise and digestible manner for like as many people as possible, keeping like a wide range of audience. And with that being said, we also want to debunk false information. So we also want to combat the misinformation. And so those are the 2 things that we're focusing on with this project. And hopefully whoever played this game or played along with us tonight got that out of it. And yeah, this project like kind of depicts the evolutionary nature of good science in itself, because we also have to keep checking it and keep updating it as the regulations and guidelines are being updated in the real world. So we also keep updating our information. And so that really shows you how good science is constantly evolving and is constantly changing as we get new data delivered to us. So yeah, I hope people can keep playing, keep challenging their limitations and their knowledge, and have fun while they're at it, like while they're doing that. And I also want to give a huge thanks to Dr. Jozef Nissimov, who was the primary virologist who looked after this project and guided me throughout this whole development and like all the content. He reviewed it. He guided me throughout the whole project. I also want to thank the University of Waterloo Faculty of Science for supporting this project and for funding it as well, and also Typeform for supporting and funding this project. So yeah, hopefully people got something out of playing this game and they had fun while learning. So yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing this game with us and sort of playing through it and talking about its development and the information. Again, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box, whether it's about the game, the information, or about Ridhi herself. Feel free to reach out. And so in the meantime, we're going to play another game, actually.
Yes, I'm ready.
This is a game that we developed at RCIScience, and it's called Some Questionable News. So basically what it is, I'm just going to add it up. There we go. And we have some headlines. Ridhi is going to guess if it's true or a fake headline that we at RCIScience has made up. And audience, you are also invited to join in, write in the chats if you think it's real or not real. And let's see how this goes. Are you ready?
Okay, yes, here we go.
I believe in you. I think you've got this. All right. So American vaccine hunters are getting their shots ahead of schedule by gaming the system.
Ooh.
Real or fake?
I think it might be fake just because of the amount of puns in there.
That's a lot of puns and a lot of like game type of language.
I'm honestly like, I love the headline. This is real.
So we've got sorry, go ahead.
I think I'm gonna go with fake. I think
you think you're gonna go with fake. We've specifically tailored it for you as a headline. Someone No, we didn't. Actually, someone said it was real as well, and they're actually correct. It is a real headline.
Oh no! Oh my gosh!
We didn't actually tailor it to you.
Wow.
So it is real, and it's kind of inflammatory because it can kind of imply that Americans are stealing Canadian vaccines and playing into that, we want to guard our resources, that sort of perspective. And plus the term vaccine hunters, it sounds like really exciting, like storm hunters or tornado chasers, like things like that. But really what this article was talking about is people, there are certain people who are waiting in line for leftover doses, when they've got all the people who've registered, and there's some no-shows sometimes. And so if those doses go to waste, instead of that, they get the vaccine instead, even though they're not technically part of that priority group necessarily. Yeah, so I think it speaks to just general vaccine wastage, which happens with any immunization program, right? So it's part of an organizational challenge to sort of keep it to the minimum. And even the Chief Public Health Officer of Canada, Dr. Theresa Tam, has also encouraged sharing best practices among the provinces and territories to reduce wastage, making sure that the leftover doses actually go to vulnerable populations. Because not everybody is able to wait in line for those leftovers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. And I guess just like that, a misleading guideline like this can also tie into the socio-political agendas that we were talking about earlier, and how that can fuel misinformation for sure. Exactly. Just bending something in their own way.
Right, and it's really all about the framing, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, great. So are you ready for the next headline?
I think so.
Now that you've got one down.
I got some practice.
Yeah, exactly. Gwyneth Paltrow is using an intuitive fasting diet to treat lingering COVID-19 symptoms.
So I'm not sure who that person is. I'm not sure if that's a bad thing.
Well, you don't know Gwyneth Paltrow. Okay.
No.
That's probably a good thing.
Oh, okay. Okay, I guess that's relieving. I would say this is a intuitive fasting diet to treat well, that's kind of interesting. I don't know. I think that's fake. It doesn't sound as catchy. Unless, well, I think it's fake. I might not be as good at this.
That's okay. That's okay. We've definitely picked some headlines that are a little bit out there, so it's not your fault. Someone from the audience has said it's a real headline, and then it is real. It is real. So Gwyneth Paltrow is a celebrity, and she has her own, I guess you would term it more as a pseudo health blog and store, as well as part of her, side hustle, I guess you could say. And introducing this term intuitive fasting, it's twisting the original concept of intuitive eating. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I actually was just reading about this yesterday on social media, how somebody was actually advocating for intuitive eating and going against intuitive fasting, and how that can kind of push people in the opposite direction. It can make something much more negative than what it needs to be.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, intuitive eating is supposed to be something positive, right? Taking care of yourself. And then
it's supposed to, it was meant to, because this is the original concept, and it was meant to foster healthier relationships with food. So you eat when you're hungry, you stop when you're full. But this really just flips it on its head, and it's focusing on the fasting part, and it just ends up being sort of another marketing ploy, and it reintroduces toxic diet culture and terms like detox benefits that come starve yourself, which is not what happens, because detoxing happens through your liver and kidneys regardless of whether you're starving. And fun fact, intuitive fasting is also the name of Gwyneth Paltrow's health advisor's new book.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they just connect the dots.
And so there's also not a lot of evidence that intermittent fasting, which I guess is sort of related, really does reduce cravings or hunger. And a lot of the studies are for animals rather than humans. So we don't actually know if it is impactful for humans. And also, fasting is not a recommended treatment for COVID-19 at all.
Right.
Yeah. So just,
I would imagine.
So just a friendly reminder to be wary of any sort of health or scientific advice that comes from celebrities. Okay. Are you ready for the next one?
I think we're ready. And this time I'm probably going to listen to the audience.
Okay, sounds good. We'll wait for them to give you the answer. Want to ditch the mask and get back to precedented times after you're vaccinated? Think again.
I think this is real because, well, something that like I've been seeing is that once people do get the vaccine, I think a lot of people have the idea that, oh, that's it, like lockdown's gonna be done, like you're gonna go back to school and everything's just going to go back to normal. But I think it's important to realize that that's not going to happen most likely. Once people do get the vaccine, it's going to be hard to monitor who has the vaccine and who doesn't. So chances are people are probably going to need to keep their masks on. So I think this would be real. I hope it would be real, but I'm not sure.
Well,
the
audience agrees with you.
Okay, there you go. Perfect. I was going to say, I'm going to like wait for the audience to say something. But I guess we're on the same page.
Okay, so yeah, their argument was, want to ditch is a clear sign that it's real. I'm sorry to have misled you, though. It is fake.
No.
But it is inspired by a lot of similar headlines, that popped up when the vaccines were first being announced. And you're right, it is true that, we can't necessarily say that everything goes back to normal once you're vaccinated. And I think part of the problem with all of these headlines popping up is that it does focus on the negative, and it sort of suggests that what's the point of getting a vaccine then? But I think it's important to realize that it does take time to build up an immune response to COVID, even after you've gotten the vaccine. And then we also have to reach herd immunity, right? Enough people have to be vaccinated, like you were saying before, in order to protect, especially the vulnerable people in our community.
And to completely just get rid of the disease, right? Like we need to make sure that a good amount of us are vaccinated first. And somehow monitor them, but that's going to be kind of impossible at this moment. So wearing masks is definitely going to be important for a while.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay, last one. I think you'll be great at it, okay? And also, there's no points. Just like they say in that show, that improv show, the points don't matter.
Said no gamer ever.
In this particular game, clearly, I'm not a very big gamer. But okay. I did not expect it to be positive. Texas teacher tests positive for COVID-19 after getting vaccinated. That was a bit of a mouthful.
I think this is way too not amplified enough to be real. I feel like if this was a real headline. Yeah, I mean, no, I have seen people who get vaccinated and then they get the disease again. But I feel like if it was a news outlet, wouldn't they want to make it very enticing and very attacking, sounding as if they're attacking people. So I'm not sure. It doesn't seem aggressive enough.
Okay.
Right. So I think it might be fake, but I'm not sure.
Someone told me the title of the show that I momentarily forgot. Whose line is it anyway? I don't know if you've seen it, but if you haven't, you should watch it.
Yeah, no, I've heard about it.
You heard about it? Okay.
Yeah, that counts.
It's an old show, so it's okay. Someone in the comments did say that they think it's a real headline, so I don't know if that changes your...
I'm going to go with the audience. I'm going to go with Daniel.
Okay, okay.
They know better.
I'm going to say good call, because it is real.
Oh, yay. Okay, yeah, you saved me.
So as much as it's true, it can happen where you get the vaccine and then you test positive. The focus still here is negative because, like we said, it does take time to build up immunity even after you've gotten vaccinated. It might take 2 weeks, right? This person, I think they got positive, shortly after. It hadn't built up enough yet. So it's important to still be careful even after you've gotten vaccinated. And being fully vaccinated also doesn't mean that it prevents you from contracting COVID-19, but it does mean you're less likely to pass it on to others or become severely sick yourself, right?
Right. Yeah, and also, they only say that it's about 95% effective. So that does already imply that it might not be effective for everybody, but that still doesn't mean that they're not effective at all. They're still like they've still been like tested a lot and rigorously, and so they still do work. And
and
so
even
we will see this from time to time.
And even if you do get COVID, it's not going to be as bad as if you weren't vaccinated for it, right?
Right. It wouldn't be lethal.
Yeah. And then one final comment from the audience: sometimes headlines are not sensational, and it's true.
I guess there you go. That's where I like messed up. I guess it is true.
Yeah. So I think that's all that we have to talk about today. Thank you so much for everyone for joining in and answering with us. Ridhi, thank you so much for, again, taking your time out to first develop this game and then also talking about it with us and playing with it. So for the audience, I hope you enjoyed today's event. Please share your feedback with us and let us know what you'd like to see from us in the future. The link shall be in the chat box. And if you can, please consider supporting RCI Science's free programming, and you can visit rciscience.ca/donate for more information. And then next week, get a dose of hope at our panel discussion about the COVID-19 vaccines led by Dr. Samantha Yamin, also known as Science Sam. We have an exciting panel of guests, Dr. Supriya Sharma, Dr. Jennifer Gomerman, and Dr. Lisa Richardson. Next month, we also launch our celebration of 100 years of insulin with an exclusive live-only screening of Miracle Baby. Miracle Baby is an inspiring documentary about professional hockey player Corey Conacher, who lives with type 1 diabetes. A Q&A with Corey and Canadian filmmaker Calvin Hudson Huang follows. Registration is mandatory, so don't miss out by booking your ticket. Also, follow along on Instagram for some neat takeovers from scientists across Canada, including a research-informed look at vaccination hesitancy. And details about all of our upcoming events can be found on our website at rciscience.ca/what's on. Thank you, everyone, for joining in once again. Have a lovely evening.